The roar of the rain against the windows was drowned out by the ticking of the clock on my wrist. The rendezvous was set for the abandoned warehouse on 5th Street, a spot notorious for shady deals. I wasn't there for the money, nor was I there for power. It was personal. A photograph was crumpled in my fist. Every time I looked at it, I was reminded of why I had to do this. A little girl with twinkling blue eyes. My niece, Emily. She had been taken from her school 2 days ago, and the kidnapper's voice was one I recognized immediately, even after a decade. Anton Valdez, a former partner, turned traitor. I reached the warehouse before the designated time. Darkness cloaked its rugged interior, but I was familiar enough with its layout. Creeping up to a broken window, I peered inside. There were several figures, illuminated by the dim light of a lantern. One of them was holding on to a little girl, Emily. Checking my revolver and taking a deep breath, I moved towards the entrance. Just as I stepped inside, floodlights illuminated the entire warehouse, blinding me momentarily. "Welcome, old friend," Anton's voice echoed. "You always had a penchant for punctuality." Emerging from the shadows, he held Emily close to him, a gun pressed to her temple. The other men trained their weapons on me. "Let her go, Anton," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "This is between you and me." He laughed, a cold, hard sound. "You think I forgot how you left me to rot in that prison in Bogota? This is my revenge. I had no choice. You betrayed us." "We can debate the past all night," he sneered. "But I have what you want, and you have something I want." He gestured to the briefcase I carried. I tightened my grip on it. "Release her first." Anton smirked, pushing Emily forward. One of his men quickly took her place beside him, aiming a rifle at me. "Slowly," he ordered as I approached with the briefcase. When I was a few steps away, I placed the briefcase on the ground, slid it toward him, then stepped back. One of his men picked it up and handed it to Anton. He opened it, eyes widening with greed as he saw the stacks of unmarked bills. Sensing a momentary distraction, I quickly reached into my coat pocket and threw a smoke grenade. The warehouse was filled with thick, choking fog. Gunshots erupted, bullets whizzed by, some thudding into crates and others ricocheting off metal. Using my knowledge of the layout, I ducked behind a stack of crates, trying to make my way to Emily. A dark figure lunged at me. I grappled with him, feeling the cold steel of a knife. With a swift move, I disarmed him, knocking him out with the butt of my gun. Locating Emily amidst the chaos was tough, but a soft whimper caught my ear. She was behind a cage, terrified. I rushed to her, picking the lock in seconds. "We need to get out of here," I whispered. We sneaked out, but just as we were about to exit, Anton emerged from the smoke, holding another hostage, this time a young woman. I recognized her as Sarah, Emily's teacher. "You thought you could outsmart me," he sneered, pressing the gun to Sarah's head. "Let her go," Emily screamed, her small voice echoing. My mind raced. If I took a shot and missed, Sarah would be dead. The weight of the moment pressed on me, but a plan formed in my mind. I whispered into Emily's ear, telling her to stay put and be brave. I moved out into the open. "Take me instead, Anton. Just let them both go." His eyes darted between me and the exit, calculating. Suddenly, the sound of sirens pierced the air. Blue and red lights flashed outside the warehouse windows. The police! In the confusion, I took my chance. Pulling out my revolver, I shot the gun out of Anton's hand. Sarah broke free, rushing to join Emily and me. We made our way out just as the police stormed the building. Anton was apprehended, and Emily and Sarah were safe. As the rain continued to pour outside, I hugged Emily tightly, the weight of the past and present intermingling. Today, justice had prevailed. Shadows unveiled. It had been weeks since the warehouse incident, and the confines of my cluttered office felt both comforting and suffocating. The nameplate on my mahogany desk gleamed in the dim light. Detective Jake Mitchell. The traces of Anton Valdez's nefarious operations still decorated my wall in the form of maps, photos, and scribbled notes. Anton might have been behind bars, but I was well aware that the roots of his operations ran deep. The piercing ring of the phone jolted me from my thoughts. "Mitchell," I grunted. "Yaki, it's Sarah." Her voice trembled. "I think someone is watching me." Recalling the role Sarah had played during Emily's kidnapping, my pulse quickened. "Stay put. I'm on my way." Sarah had tipped me off about the shady dealings of a few staff members at Emily's school. Top of that list was Mr. Henderson, who was mysteriously absent the day Emily disappeared. Reaching the cafe, I found Sarah in a dimly lit corner, visibly shaken. She spoke of Henderson's unnerving inquiries about Emily and a sensation of being constantly observed. Deciding to tail Henderson, I trailed him through his mundane errands until he paused at an unassuming building. As night fell, I infiltrated the premises, only to stumble upon a room filled with monitors displaying live feeds of various city locations. Suddenly, the lights flared to life, blinding me momentarily. "Impressive, Detective Mitchell," sneered Henderson from behind. Two heavy-set men blocked the exits, their intentions clear. As one lunged, I sent him crashing into the monitors. The other fell victim to my taser, but Henderson, weapon drawn, had the drop on me. As he aimed, a gunshot echoed, and his gun skittered across the floor. Sarah stood defiantly in the doorway, gun raised. "Back up," she smirked. With the trio subdued and the evidence in hand, the police arrived to make the arrests. Back at the precinct, as the evidence was being analyzed, Sarah and I shared a quiet moment, relieved that the immediate threat was neutralized. However, as I prepared to head home, an anonymous envelope lay on my desk. Inside was a photo of me tailing Henderson, and scribbled on the back were the words, "Your move, detective."